안녕하세요. 매일매일 운동하는 동탄 왕코입니다. 드디어 집에 왔습니다. 동탄 집에 돌아왔어요. 일단은 연휴 마지막 날입니다, 여러분. 오늘 밖에 비 오던데 운전하는데 오고 있는데 비가 오더라고요. 낮에 해는 아직 안 졌는데 일단 집에 왔으니까 집이 추워요. 보일러를 20도로 맞춰놓고 갔다 왔는데 집이 좀 춥습니다. 그래서 이 추운 냉기 속에서 운동을 해야겠죠? 열심히 운동을 할게요. 지금 CNN 보고 있는데 코비 브라이언트라고 해야 되나요? 그 사람이 죽었대요. 헬리콥터 사고로. 바스켓볼 레전드. 안타깝네요. 일단 운동을 하겠습니다. 자, 운전 오래 하신 분들 오늘 꼭 운동하셔야 돼요. 운동을 못하면은 스트레칭이라도 하셔야 됩니다, 여러분. 건강을 생각해서. 저는 운동 빨리 하고 밥 먹고 짐 정리하고 집도 뒤에 보이시죠? 그대로예요. 그대로 설날 연휴 시작한 날. 그래서 옷 정리도 다 해야 됩니다. 다시. 일단 운동을 할게요. 30분 최대한 30분 채워서 하겠습니다.
Times less than 2 miles, and kind of going into the closer perspective and looking at what has happened here, we know the base cloud deck was around 1,000 feet high. In fact, the flight itself, much of it kept between the elevation of 800 feet to 1,200 feet, so a lot of that flight was kept below this cloud deck, and the peak of the hills in this area rise as high as 2,000 feet or slightly higher. But the flight took off a little after 9 a.m. from Santa Ana Airport there at John Ware Airport in Santa Ana, and kind of parallel the Interstate 5 there, went up towards Glendale. 20 minutes into the flight, actually made 6 loops right above the skies of Glendale, east of the Los Angeles Zoo, if you're familiar with this area, and then kind of went back towards the west in its last 10 or so minutes of flight and pushed in above the skies of the Highway 101 there, and the crash site happening just outside of Calabasas. What we do know in the final minute of flight there, pretty perplexing event here when you kind of take a look at the data coming in from Flight Radar 24, because the elevations were 1,200 feet of this aircraft, went up to 2,100 feet in the final 6 seconds flight, and then at 9:45, within that same minute, crashed at an elevation around 1,700 feet. So certainly there was something going on board, whether it be the disorientation by the pilot or maybe technical difficulties there, right?
Yeah, it is extraordinary. Very, very sad. We'll learn more. We will learn more. Pedram, thanks for that.
And Brian's influence reached far beyond the basketball court.
Yeah, in 2018, he became the only athlete to ever win a basketball championship and an Academy Award, the former Los Angeles Laker winning an Oscar for the best animated short film called Dear Basketball. It was based off a poem that he wrote, which was about him as a young boy dreaming about the game. Have a look at just a clip.
Dear Basketball, you gave a 6-year-old boy his Laker dream. And we both know, no matter what I do next, I'll always be that kid with the rolled up socks, garbage can in the corner, 5 seconds on the clock, ball in my hands. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Supercharged, in association with DHL.
After a long December break, the all-electric racing series ABB Formula E was back in January with the third race of the season in the Chilean capital, Santiago.
And we go green, Santiago!
The sweltering 50-degree track temperature promised a fiery race, and it didn't disappoint.
Oh, he's hit it! Oh, Berg goes round. It's Berg. He might have to pit here.
It all culminated in a thrilling final lap duel between Techeetah's Antonio Felix da Costa and BMW driver Max Günther.
Da Costa forced his way past. Now that is robust. Günther goes to the outside. Turn 9, and he's done it.
A maiden win for the German at 22, the youngest ever race winner in Formula E.
Supercharged, in association with DHL.
Thinking of banking in Africa? Think Zenith. In today's fast-moving, fast-changing world, you need a financial partner that understands your unique expectations. A bank with presence in major financial centers across the world, with the enabling platform to facilitate seamlessly, whenever, wherever, however. A bank with best-in-class financial solutions from a superb combination of technology and human touch for easy, fast, and secure banking that creates real value. Turning dreams into reality is now in your hands. People, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Want a daily dose of Fareed and his team? Now you can get it with Fareed's Global Briefing, the newsletter that gives you the best insight and analysis on global affairs. Go to cnn.com/Fareed to sign up.
For the old city is the closing chapter of ISIS's presence. They have left absolute devastation in their wake. Extraordinary to stand exactly where ISIS may in fact have been plotting attacks against the West.
This is a strange new world in Syria, the end game of the fight against ISIS. NATO ally facing NATO ally.
The United States said that you had fired missiles for another step. That's a lie. What would be the consequence of an American military strike on Iran? An all-out war.
We get rare permission to enter.
We're headed now deep inside gang territory.
Venezuela's dark lurch into poverty and chaos. This crisis all created by the mad policies of a government that now wants to hide the collapse.
Eerily quiet, isn't it? This city almost constantly living with the threat of a Russian invasion.
Mission planning, American air power.
I'm Max Foster in London, and this is CNN.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Hello and welcome to our viewers joining us here in the United States and all around the world. I'm Michael Holmes.
And I'm Rosemary Church. We continue our breaking news coverage on the sudden death of Kobe Bryant. The basketball legend died in a helicopter crash on Sunday, along with his teenage daughter and 7 other people.
US aviation officials and local authorities are at the crash site near Los Angeles investigating what happened. They do say there was low visibility at the time of the crash, but it is still unclear if that played a factor or not. The recovery now underway. Authorities say it could take a couple of days to complete.
Bryant was an early star in professional basketball. He was drafted into the NBA in his teens.
And 20 seasons, yes, 20 with the Lakers. He won 5 NBA championships, set a lengthy list of records. Polo Sandoval now with more on his extraordinary life.
He was born Kobe Bean Bryant. But to the world, the 41-year-old was a global basketball phenomenon. The son of a pro basketball player, the Philly native finished high school and was quickly drafted by the NBA.
Greatness lies ahead for this young man.
At the time, Bryant was the youngest player in the league's history at just over 17 years old.
I think a lot of people, even when I came out of high school, I think people were kind of giving me the cold shoulder to begin with, because I think unfortunately some people wanted me to fail because I defied the odds.
The MVP spent his entire pro career with the LA Lakers, winning 5 NBA championships with the team. During his 20 seasons, Bryant became one of the league's top scoring players, even surpassed Michael Jordan, becoming 4th on the NBA's all-time scoring list. On 2 occasions, he helped secure Team USA Olympic gold on the world stage. Bryant dealt with controversy too. In 2003, he was charged with sexual assault, accused of raping a 19-year-old hotel employee. The charge was later dropped and the case was settled in civil court. Bryant also overcame various sport-related injuries, always determined to heal and return to the court. Then in the fall of 2015, he announced his plan to retire from the NBA and played his final game in 2016. The following year, his jersey numbers 8 and 24 were retired. Since then, he has made his mark on Hollywood, winning an Academy Award for his animated film Dear Basketball, but his greatest accomplishment may have been off the hardwood. He was a husband and proud father of 4 children.
We all have moments like this in life where it just seems like that day is never going to end. You know, it just seems like the moment that you're in just feels like the darkest moment to you. You know, and at that point, you really kind of have to step outside of yourself and put it in perspective and understand that, you know, I've had many, many blessings, a lot of things to be thankful for.
At 6'6", Bryant was more than just a literal giant. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti wrote, Bryant inspired, amazed, and thrilled people everywhere with his incomparable skill on the court, and others with his intellect and humility as a father, husband, creative genius, and ambassador for the game he loved. Polo Sandoval, CNN, New York.
Grief-stricken NBA fans around the world paying tribute to Kobe Bryant. Fans cheering after a moment of silence that was held at Madison Square Garden in New York on Sunday night before a game between the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks tipped off.
Outside, the arena was lit up in purple and gold, the colors of the Los Angeles Lakers. Meanwhile, reaction continues to flood in. Former Lakers coach Phil Jackson released a statement saying this: "The crash was a tragedy for multiple families. My heart goes out to Vanessa and the families that lost loved ones. Kobe was a chosen one, special in many ways to many people. Our relationship as coach-player transcended the norm. He went beyond the veil." And Los Angeles Clippers coach Doc Rivers, who knew Bryant for many years, was also emotional when asked about his death.
The news is just devastating to everybody who knew him, who've known him a long time. And,
힘들어.
you know, he means a lot to me, obviously. You know, he was such a great opponent, you know. It's what you want in sports. He had that DNA that very few athletes can ever have. You know, the Tiger Woods and the Michael Jordans. You know, it's funny. I was getting to know him more since he retired. You know, yeah, this is a tough one.
Crowds have been gathering to pay respects at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, where the Lakers play, and that's where we find out Paul Verkaman. And Paul, you know, the thing with a guy that sort of went from high school into the pros, much of America feels they grew up with him, you know, from teenage years to adulthood and right through his career. He means a lot to people, particularly there where you are.
That's exactly right. The reason that he does is that Kobe Bryant, unlike so many other players in the modern era, never wore any other jersey than a Lakers jersey, 20 years. And if you look behind me, you can get a sense for what he means to this city. The candles, the basketballs, the flowers, and fans just openly weeping, some of them, as they've walked up here to pay their respects to Kobe Bryant. Something that many of them said over and over again is, to them, he was Los Angeles. He was their Southern California experience. And for every single wrong stereotype about Southern California being laid back, Kobe Bryant was fiery, tenacious, won by force of will. Many people remembering some of the things that he did, how he had lost to the Celtics and then later came back and beat the Celtics, how he snapped his Achilles tendon and went to the free throw line with a ruptured Achilles tendon and still shot the free throw. That's the sort of toughness that many of these fans admired Kobe for. Just an unbelievable work ethic. And I want to ask Francisco, another person here wearing his Kobe Bryant jersey, number 8. When you first heard this news, how'd you react?
I was honestly on shock. I couldn't believe it. I was about to cry. I just didn't know what to do at that point. I thought it was false, like false news. But then it was confirmed. And not only that, but to find out that his daughter was also involved and the lives of many others. It was just a very tragic day for LA Nation. Not just that, but I mean, growing up watching Kobe, it's just, he was family. He was family here in LA. Not just LA, but the whole world, worldwide.
And it's past midnight, and yet these people are still here.
And I believe we'll be here all day, all week, 24 hours a day. It doesn't matter how many security or cops you have out there. We have this much love for Kobe because he dedicated 20 years to LA. Faithful, faithful.
Faithful, well said, thank you. Well, there you have it, Michael, Rosemary. That's why they adored him. They felt that he was faithful, loyal. As we said, he never jumped to another team. He might have flirted with an idea of doing so at one point, but he was a Laker through and through. And behind me, Staples Centers, yes, it was the Grammy Awards, but Staples was a house that many people feel that Kobe built. Back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just doesn't happen in the modern era, does it? 20 years with one team. Paul Vercammon, thanks so much. Great reporting all night there.
And that fan really described it exactly how most of us responded. I mean, that shock, and then finding out that Gianna was on board as well.
Could not believe it when I saw it this afternoon.
Yeah, I think we're all still trying to come to terms with it, right? And of course, current Lakers star LeBron James looked up to Kobe Bryant while he was growing up. He was visibly emotional Sunday as he got off the team plane in LA. You see there in those pictures. Just a day earlier, he passed Bryant on the NBA's all-time career scoring list. He spoke about that achievement before the news of Bryant's death.
Now I'm here in the Lakers uniform in Philadelphia, where he's from. Where one of the first time I ever met him, gave me his shoes, he won All-Star Week. It's surreal. It doesn't make no sense. I'm happy just to be in any conversation with Kobe Bean Bryant, one of the all-time greatest basketball players to ever play, one of the all-time greatest Lakers. The man got 2 jerseys hanging up in Staples Center. It's just crazy.
Great words. We're also hearing from NBA greats like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He had this message about Kobe.
Kobe, my thoughts are with you. Absolutely. Rest in peace, young man. This loss it's just hard to comprehend. Go with God.
Now, another NBA legend, Michael Jordan, he released a statement on Bryant's death. He says, quote, "I am in shock over the news. Words can't describe the pain I'm feeling. I loved Kobe. He was like a little brother to me. We used to talk often, and I will miss those conversations very much." And CNN's Christina McFarlane joins me now from London. So, Christina, the very fact that the whole world is mourning the death of Kobe Bryant indicates just how special he was, not only as an athlete, but as an incredible leader who inspired so many people and touched so many lives. What has been the international reaction so far?
You're absolutely right, Rosemary. He was an unbelievable leader, and what we saw last night was many NBA games still in action despite the news. Players actually in floods of tears on the court yesterday upon hearing the news, and we saw every team paying tribute to Kobe in one way or another. Some players having his name on their shoes, others taking 24-second clock violations in honor of Kobe's number 24, which he wore for the Lakers, of course, for so many years. But really, as you've seen and you've been explaining already, it's the personal messages that have resonated the most. And I just want to talk you through a few more of the people who are extremely close to Kobe that are doing the rounds here today. Shaquille O'Neal, as you know, a long-time playing partner of Kobe Bryant, a close friend, he tweeted this upon hearing the news: "There are no words to express the pain I'm going through with this tragedy of losing my niece Gigi and my brother Kobe. I love you and you will be missed. My condolences go out to the Bryant family and the families of other passengers on board. I am sick right now." Also particularly pertinent as well was a message that we've just seen from Dwayne Wade on Instagram, who of course played international basketball with Kobe. They won the Olympic gold medal in 2008, but again another very close friend of Kobe, and a very emotional message. He said this was one of the saddest days of his life.
20분이네.
We'll forever miss you, man. You're a legend. You're an icon. You're a father. You're a husband, your son, your brother, your friend. Thank you for being my friend. I love you, brother.
It's just so sad, but you know, the reaction just hasn't been in basketball, it's been in sports all over the world, but particularly pertinent was Tiger Woods yesterday, who was walking off the 18th green at Torrey Pines, just down the road in San Diego, and he said he walked up to the 18th green and could hear people chanting, "Do it for Mamba." He said he didn't quite know what was going on or why people were saying this until he finished his round, got off the 18th green and was told about the news.
요거 아령 딱 10개만 하고 그만할게요. 30분 꽉 채우려고 했는데 힘드네요. 그래도 할 게 너무 많습니다. 지금 세탁기 돌려놨는데 옷 정리해야 되고 사실 핑계지만 그래도 이해해 주세요. 네. 이거 10개만 하고 끝내겠습니다.
10 hours, Rosemary, that this could happen to a man who's so young and in so many ways was just beginning to start the second chapter of his life.
And of course, Christina, we talked about his popularity outside of the United States, globally. And he lived and grew up in Italy. He spoke fluent Italian. So there's a real link, isn't there? And of course, he loved soccer. We call it soccer in the United States.